Hey guys, how's it going? Blake here with Easy Tech, and today we're going to be trying to fix the stick drift on my Series 2 controller from my Xbox consoles. For those of you who don't know about the Series controllers, they have magnetic thumbsticks. We're just going to leave those out. We're going to put those to the side actually. It also has a magnetic directional as well. It has one that's like this and one that works the same way but is actually round, so you can hit the corners easier. And it has the paddles that are of course on the back. Now another thing it has are these nifty hair triggers here. Unfortunately the cover for this one fell off of this side, so I can still get it and I can still get it while playing, but it's not quite protruding as far out, so it's harder to get. So a couple ways to fix the stick drift for this, guys, is the first one and the easiest one that I recommend you guys actually try is actually to clean the thumbstick itself. And one method of doing that, now this is not what we're doing today, I've done this several times, but what that does is you want to have your thumbstick on, have the controller off. If you do not have a Series 2 controller and you have a battery pack, make sure to remove the battery pack and remove the batteries. But the first step you guys should always do whenever trying to clean this is to either power it off or get yourself take the battery pack out, get yourself a Q-tip and soak it in rubbing alcohol. Just don't worry about dabbing it off as much as there's possible. And what you're going to want to do is just push this kind of to the side, and while it's soaked, stick it in there as far as you can. Really try to get it there. Of course, don't break anything, but you want the alcohol to seep down into there. And then you're going to want to rotate and follow all the way around. Do that, get in there as good as you can, then go to the other side. Might as well clean them both. Do the same thing, get in there, go around and stuff, and then do it again. Make sure when you're Q-tipping it and pushing down, you're rotating the thumbstick to get in there as far as you can. Sometimes there's some dirt and gunk in there, and that will clean it up. But I've fixed several controllers that way, but eventually stick drift does always get to us. Now, the second method, which I'll show you guys once we get it open, is actually to open the side a little bit. Now, I've actually seen people do this online. I did it on my Series 2 controller, and it seemed to temporarily fix the controller for a few days, to about a couple weeks maybe. The third method, and probably one of the most effective without worrying about damaging the sensor, is going to be to buy a replacement stick. Now the replacement analog stick, of course, you're going to have to desolder all the joints inside off the board, and then you'll have to solder this one into place. Of course, you run into the issue of cold solder joints after soldering circuit boards, through holes, surface mounts, and everything in between for about 10 years, guys. I'm not the best when it comes to soldering. I have soldered an actual ribbon cable back together. That took a long time and was really interesting for those of you who actually understand what that would entail. But this is the final option, because this actually requires you to pull out the soldering iron, the wick, and the flux and everything, and you're going to get your controller dirty. You're possibly going to damage it. You might rip a trace off or something. And it's just, this should always be the last resort in my opinion. Now, I do have these, but the reason I have these is because a kit that I bought actually came with them. And I'm not using that kit today because that is to fix the bumpers that is on my Series 1 Elite controller. Today, we are going to open this up and we are going to replace the sensor. Now, the potentiometer, as you might noticed, there were two of those on the side of the analog stick. Now the way this works is this sits in, and when you go up and down, it moves this potentiometer, or variable resistor, for if you guys want to know exactly what that is, and it rotates it, and that's how you go up and down, and then you go left and right, and it rotates this one at the bottom. The idea for these sensor replacements is actually to unsolder that point as well, but we're not going to do that. Again, I don't want to solder the board if I don't have to. You're just going to continuously wear it down. If you don't have the proper heat, you could actually damage the board. And again, you have to worry about cold solder joints, cleaning all of that back up, the flux and everything. and I'm just not as well with that. So we're only going to use one of these, and we're going to remove that in a minute. I don't want to mess with it. Now, what I'm about to do, guys, I've done on several of the regular Xbox One controllers a few years ago in the past. It's been a while since I've done this. But I've got myself a little toolkit here, which I'm going to take a couple things out of. So we'll take this prying tool out. And I will use this one to start with. Not quite as sharp as my other ones. Don't want to damage anything. We'll move the potentiometer over to the side for now. And now you're going to want to take this apart. Now, there are latches located all around this controller. The Series 2 is different from all the other controllers. The Series 2 is latched together with plastic little latches. The rest of them have screws located all the way around. So make sure you find a video or stay tuned to my next video. If this works, I'll replace the bumpers on my Series 1 as well as another sensor. But for this one, what you guys are going to want to do is right here, you want to place this right here. Now you have to be careful not to get up under the circuit board that's inside. You're barely going to go in. Then you're going to want to straighten it out and then try to force it in. Now you might be, again, pushing by that circuit board and you are prying it. There is a chance you may damage this, guys. So what I normally like to do is go right here. And when I see that, I know I'm on top of the circuit board, not below it. And it looks like I may have got scratched something off that time. Hopefully not. So what you'll do then, leave that there so it doesn't latch back. And then grab yourself a second prying tool. You want to find that location. And get under, and then you're going to slide around. Now, you're going to sound like it's potentially breaking. And again, you are going to break off some of these tabs. I've broken off probably close to half of them. To be honest, I'll have to look, and it still seems to be holding properly. Now that I've got that corner under there, I'll switch to the wider side. And as you can see, well, you can't see there. You have to see it is lifting right here. So what I'll do next is come around the top. Now, that is okay if that falls out, but you have to be careful not to let it close back. So if you want to just shove that in there, because trust me, if forgot to take that off, that's fine. The reason that popped like that, guys, is because there is actual like black electrical tape in there holding this together as well. So you are going to have to apply some force to get that to let go. Again, you want to just slide your way around. Be as easy as you can. The less you break latch-wise, of course, is better. But I've literally taken this controller apart many, many times just due to the stick drift issues. The problem with the stick drift for these controllers, if you look, there's a little bit of black sticky tape there and there, is why it's holding on. So the top is off. One of the problems, like I was saying with these controllers, is even though these cost more, they've a lot more durable or supposed to be, they still have these same cheap potentiometers in them as nearly every other controller, and that is what goes bad. Now here's a couple other methods potentially of fixing this. So one method, now I'm going to try to unscrew this in a minute. The Series 2s, these screw on to the actual analog stick, and the rest of them, the Series 1, and this is actually magnetic, so it's pulling it toward. But the Series 1, the regular Xbox controllers, as soon as you get that top off, you can just slide this right off. And I'm not going to worry about grabbing the replacement for now. But it's actually a little difficult to get these off without damaging the analog stick. So what you want to do is rotate it. Not much. Again, if you damage, these are a different type. So what I'm actually going to attempt, I think, is because I cannot get it at the moment, as I'm actually going to attempt to open this and replace the sensor with it on. And if that doesn't work, then I'll put some extra time into removing this. But a third method, real quick, guys, I'm actually going to grab a different tool now that I've got it open. So another method to fix the Series 2, I found that a lot of people talk about this online. The unfortunate thing, it doesn't stay as you use it. But one method is the sensor that is right here on the side. That normally is the first one to go bad. Okay guys, so as I was saying, so one method people chose to actually fix is to take here and to very, very slightly open this. And it's the problem with this though, I just had the small crack there, and that's about what you want. You want the tiniest, it's not. So you want the tiniest crack there, and that is it. But unfortunately, a lot of times it closes itself back up, and if it doesn't close itself back up, it will eventually close while you play. But to change the actual sensor, I actually don't think we're going to be able to do this without taking it apart looking at it, guys. But that's okay. I do have the security screwdriver now. Let's see what we can do. We're going to pause the video, see if I can get this off, and if I can't, then we'll continue with dismantling the rest of the controller. Okay guys, so I was able to apply a lot more force to get this off, and again, I'm hoping I didn't damage it. But what you want to do is you want to rotate this, of course, counterclockwise. So to do that while this is still on, I unfortunately had to use a pair of needle nose pliers. I do not recommend doing that if you don't have to. Some people's were light enough online to take off without it. But while it's on there, what you want to do is if you get it loose, just take this and rotate counterclockwise, and eventually it will pull off. We'll also do that the opposite direction clockwise and get it to go back on. Again, I don't want to completely take this apart, so I'm going to go ahead and try to remove the sensor, and then I'm going to try to actually remove the sensor while I'm still doing the recording. Now, I'm not worried about pulling the sensor out, but whenever I go to put it back in, of course, I will need to be much more careful. So I'm going to go ahead and get a few of my tools out, which honestly, I don't need to yank all this out, but I will. I'll get all my tools out just to be safe, get a couple things that might be a little easier to work with, and then we'll go ahead and try to replace the sensor. Okay, so first things first. Let's go ahead and open the sensor side. If you got a pair of tweezers, it may be easier, but I'm a little concerned with bending my tweezers as much as I'm concerned with damaging this at the moment. I've nearly given up to the fact I'm just going to have to replace it. Before you open that, let me see if I can zoom in a little further. Okay, well, hopefully the quality will hold up here. So to get this to come out, guys, you're going to want to take this, and we're going to actually see if we can remove this one. Sorry, forgot it zoomed in. So we're going to have to try to remove this here. The potentiometer is the white piece, or the sensor that we're worried about. And we're going to try to go ahead and remove that first. And if we can go ahead and remove this, then we can go ahead and proceed to the other one. Okay, so pinching like that made it fall straight out. Be very, 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 very careful. I don't even like the idea of touching this with my bare hands. But here it is. There's this tiny little series of springs here, guys. Trying to pick it up by looking at the camera. But this little part, this is what's going bad. This is what's causing your stick drift and all your problems. So there it is, little tiny springs raised up on that side. Now the hard part is going to be getting the other one out, which isn't going to be that difficult, and getting this one in. So now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and try to very carefully, not that part, but very carefully set this part over to the side. That's actually a pretty decent method. Put it in there, and then just expand, let them expand, move, pinch, and it drops. So this will be the difficult point. Zoom this back out to 3. Oh, 1, sorry. And same as before, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to back this green part up and do it gently, because if you damage this, then you will have to replace the whole module, which will require soldering and everything. And again, I remember I forgot to disconnect it. This is what happens when you're making a video without a script. See, the sensors I'm pulling out are black, so I'm actually hoping that this is not a different resistance value or sensitivity. Also, when I originally used to do this with my other series controllers, there it is. That's what you're looking for. It snaps back. So it seems the sensor did get disconnected. Maybe we'll get lucky. Nope, of course not. But we can take our tweezers. Fortunately, I have a kit for this. Now, of course, I could pull that little rubber piece off, but I found it's actually easier. Keeps my tweezers from shooting very far apart. Now, if you're ever swapping these from one controller, a bad controller, to another one to try to save, of course, be much more careful than I'm being right now. But considering I'm just trying to get a bad sensor out, and I do not care, at least I hope it's a bad sensor, then we're just going to go ahead and just pry this out best we can. There it is. And it's shot across the table. Now, of course, this sensor would never be used again due to how rough it was. And this may have actually been a better sensor. It seems to maybe have had a golded tint to it, maybe. And, okay. So, I will put them side by side, let you guys get a picture. And I will go to zoom back in. So there it is. It's kind of hard to tell, of course, but you've got one, of course, that's gold, one that's white. Now, this could, unfortunately, mess up the calibration. Hopefully that will not be the case. At this point, this controller is nearly unusable anyway. So worst case, I would buy analog sticks that were specifically made to be replaced for this. And I would just have to go that method. Now, what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to place the sensor back inside. Now, what's going to make that so difficult is, first of all, how gentle we're going to have to be with the sensor. But the second part is we're going to have to line this up as well. So I have to basically line this up top to bottom without damaging this any of the springs. Grab it with the tweezers, drop it in, and then force it in place again without damaging any of the springs or the metallic surfaces. For someone as clumsy as me, I don't know how well this is going to go. Okay, that is not lined up at all. Okay, and the spring is getting stuck. This is not looking good so far. Okay, so it's sitting on top of it. It's not quite getting in there. So what we'll do is turn upside down Maybe we can get it to fall back out because it's sitting on top of something, so it's not. There it goes. Oh, one actual very important thing to do, guys, is we probably need to clean that port and dry it before we continue. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, guys, so I got the alcohol. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about a couple other things while I do this. So first of all is going to be just get any kind of normal alcohol, rubbing alcohol. This one is 91%. So we're going to get this now. We're going to go in. Hopefully we don't leave anything behind or damage anything. And it's honestly, guys, very possible that it could be fuzz or something else that's in there. And if you look, oh, that's what it's getting stuck on. It's getting stuck on a little black piece that fits inside that actually causes it to turn. When I tried this previously, I was able to get around that easily, because on the other controller types that I've done, I normally have the top cover off, which gives more access. So that is hopefully clean enough. Luckily, the alcohol dries relatively quickly. Just move it around a little more, make sure. Now, while that's doing that, I can go ahead and talk a little bit, though. So a couple of things about this, guys. This is a very aggravating thing to do, but these controllers, they're very expensive, and especially the elite ones, and these parts go bad very quickly. So I'm just going to let that dry real quick. Now, one really good thing that PlayStation's actually doing, and the best part about the world of competitive everything, is as soon as one person does something, the competitor has to do it as well to catch up, or soon afterwards. Now, of course, that's not something that's currently true with like PlayStation VR. We have not seen Xbox VR yet. I still without hope that eventually we will get to that point. And honestly, I believe that we're just starting to get to where the VR is becoming mainstream enough to potentially Xbox invest in that. But something that PlayStation is actually leaked to be doing, we don't know yet, there's rumors, is they're actually developing a module here. So whenever the stick drift occurs, you can buy a module. Now, they haven't done cost or anything, but this bag of sensors costs $9. Normally, the whole unit here you can get from anywhere from $10 for about 4 to 2 to 8, depending on who's selling them and how many they're selling together for. So it's very potential that you could spend money on a controller that's $70, $80, $60 US, $150, what this is now. And as soon as the stick drift go bad, run to your local Walmart, run to just Best Buy, order Amazon, you get a new component in, replace it in roughly 5 minutes, take the top off, probably a latch like a CPU holder, and then you just put the new one in, you latch it in, and you're good to go. Now we're going to hope that's dry enough. Looking at it, it seems to be dry enough. Now, it seems to be that it could be some wear on the inside of that. Now, of course, that's one of the issues we're worried about, and that's one of the things that does go bad. And if that's the case, which is a very strong case, guys, then we'll actually have to replace the whole module. And I will start by replacing just the one side, the green side, without the whole thing, hopefully. So this time I'm going to do something that's I highly do not recommend. I'm going to try to put it in with my fingers. And then we will use the plastic pry tool. And we will hope to get under it enough to kind of work it in. Unfortunately, I can see it when I move it up, but I just cannot get it over. I'll probably not be able to do this very well either. But I'm going to try to grab the front, physically pick it up, I'm afraid I may be damaging it, and honestly at this point if I'm not, I'd be more surprised. Okay, so let's try holding the green section back a little more, and I've just turned it on. Guys, if I can actually get this in and get the controller working properly, I would really appreciate a subscribe. In the future, I'll go through the process, probably if I'd have to do this again, of completely taking the controller apart. That just can be a pain sometimes. As soon as you take the front and the back off, and I can't take it out, but apparently I can rotate it. So let's go back the other way. Okay, so that may actually be plate. No. Okay, guys, I've damaged it. I can go ahead and call this now because trying to get the component back on, it fits, it's closed, it's latched into place, but there's no way this isn't damaged. So what you guys, I probably had a description earlier, probably to the left. I don't know where I'm going to have it, but I had a little bit of video showing how bad the stick drift was, and at the end of the last thing I touched up and it just stayed there. The stick drift has actually, of course, caused me to lose many games. One of the easiest games of Apex I've ever lost was the final circle closing in. The circle was where me and my teammate were. The other team could not reach to where we were. It was too high. I was a Pathfinder and my teammate was a lifeline. Well, due to the lifeline and the heat shields we had, we would have been able to easily win, but she accidentally fell off the side, and after she fell, I was trying to shoot to give her cover. Well, the stick drift caused me to walk forward without me realizing it, which caused me to fall off the side, unfortunately. So what we're going to do now, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and record my screen again on my Xbox. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this back on, and hopefully this didn't damage. There is a very, very small thread to this, guys, so you're going to want to make sure that you don't break that as well. I hope in the future, if I have to do this again, it'll be just as easy to get off. Also, I hope that it doesn't loosen while playing. Okay. So that'll probably be your torque setting. Apply, but not too much pressure. And when that starts to slide off, so I'm going to remove this, and I will place this back on for the moment. Go ahead, select my screen to record, and I'll put that on the screen now. Let's go in. Okay. Guys, we might have actually fixed it. Now, of course, this could potentially go bad soon. Normally, after cleaning it, it could actually work properly for a day or two for me. What I've had to do to clean it in the past was to get it open, hold this to the side, and then put the alcohol swab here and soak it when the power, of course, was off. But guys, we may have actually fixed this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to see if a couple of my buddies are on, see if they want to do some Apex, see if that works. Do some Battlefield, make sure I'm not walking off cliffs while sniping or sneaking up on people. And Rocket League was another big one. This prevented me actually from being able to flip forwards. So it, with no boost, I could barely move most of the time. So this is going to be really awesome, guys. If this works, I'm really hoping it does. This will really get me back into being able to do a lot better than I have been. So if you guys like the video, please like and subscribe. Please subscribe to it. Make sure you hit some comments and share this with any of your friends who might be having stick drift issues as well. Now, the best part about this, we're going to go ahead and take these off. And the best part about the Elite Series 2 is you just want to place it, line it up, and that's it. All you got to do is just squeeze around. I don't hear any plastic in there. If you ever do, that just means that one of your tabs broke off. Again, I've broken probably over half of them and it still holds really well. But that's it, guys. Make sure you come back for the next video, which will be me replacing that sensor again. But it'll be, hopefully should be easier this time because I'll have to take the controller, I believe, completely apart. Cause I'll have to replace the bumper as well, as it's currently broken on my Elite Series 1. You'll get to see how the Elite Series 2 is held up versus the Series 1 in roughly the same amount of time. And you also get a good laugh at my thumbstick. So if you want to know why I'm saying that, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep your eye out for that video. Thanks again, and I hope to see you later.